Okay, so let's talk about this. Back in 1904, Japan's very first female journalist invented a budgeting system that doesn't need an app, doesn't need an algorithm. All you need is a pen and a piece of paper. It's called Kakebo, and you can still buy it in bookstores today, totally unchanged. If you've ever had that moment of quiet dread, looking at your bank balance late at night, well, this explainer is for you. Now, you've probably seen this number floating around, the claim that this super simple notebook method can make you 35% richer. It's a huge promise, and honestly, it's everywhere.
But come on, is that for real? Can the simple act of just writing stuff down really have that big of an impact on your bank account?
Well, the short answer, no. But here's the thing. The actual story behind why this system works is so much more interesting than any marketing slogan could ever be. All right, so first things first, we've got to bust this myth, because understanding where this viral number came from tells you everything you need to know about what Kakebo is and what it isn't. So that 35% number, it's not from some big scientific study. Nope. It looks like it started with some anonymous blogger, then a newspaper picked it up, and before you know it, it's slapped on a book cover. It's pure marketing. But, and this is a big but, just because the number is made up, that doesn't mean the system is a bust. Not at all. The behavioral science behind why it works, it's completely solid. To really get why a paper notebook can be so powerful, we have to look at why our fancy, high-tech solutions fail so often. I'm talking about that graveyard of abandoned budgeting apps you probably have on your phone right now. And this just says it all, doesn't it? Get this. A whopping 94% of people who download a personal finance app just stop using it within a month. 94%. So if you've done that, listen, it's not a personal failure. It's a massive problem with the whole let the app do it for you approach. And hey, the proof is in the pudding, right? Even as all these apps got super popular, American credit card debt soared to a record $1.27 trillion. Clearly, just passively tracking our money isn't working. I love this quote from the source material. It just hits the nail on the head. When an app automatically tracks your spending for you, the mental work never happens. You might glance at a report, feel a little guilty for a second, and then you do the exact same thing next month. Just seeing a report doesn't change your behavior. Behavioral economists have this term called the pain of paying. It's that little psychological sting you feel when you actually hand over cash. But with tap to pay and one-click buying, that feeling is basically gone. What Kakebo does is genius in its simplicity. It deliberately brings that friction back. So let's rewind. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. The year is 1904, and a journalist named Motoko Hani is about to create a solution to a problem that, let's be honest, we are all still struggling with today. As Japan's first recognized female journalist, Hani was a total trailblazer. She saw that households had no real system for managing their money, so she just created one. And that simple household account book from 1904, it's now a global bestseller more than 120 years later. How crazy is that? Now, this is where it gets really, really cool. What looks like a quaint, kind of old-fashioned habit is actually backed by multiple lines of modern science. This isn't about being nostalgic. This is about how your brain is wired. It's neurological. So check this out. Brain scan studies literally show that handwriting creates way more complex neural pathways than typing does, especially in the parts of your brain that form memories. Typing is fast, it's passive. Handwriting is slow, and it forces your brain to actually process the information, not just copy it down. And that leads to this amazing psychological principle called the generation effect. Basically, we remember information we create ourselves far better than information we just see or hear. So when you manually write, I spent $47 at Target on things I didn't need, that purchase becomes psychologically real in a way that an app's automatic notification never, ever will. And then you've got goal setting. A study by Dr. Gail Matthews found that people who simply wrote their goals down achieved them at more than double the rate of those who only thought about them. Double! And what does Kakebo require you to do? Write down a savings goal every single month. That one little act makes you dramatically more likely to actually succeed. So, the bottom line is, this system works. Now let's talk about how you can actually use it, like starting tonight. It's incredibly straightforward. Every purchase you make goes into one of these 4 buckets. The most interesting one here is culture. Kakebo separates personal growth from just simple wants. And the idea behind that is that it's something that deserves to be funded intentionally, not just the first thing you cut from the budget. It's a whole philosophy. At the end of each month, you ask yourself 4 simple questions. How much money do I have? How much did I want to save? How much did I actually spend? And then the big one, how can I improve? And pay close attention to that phrasing. It doesn't ask, where did I fail? It asks, how can I improve? It's a forward-looking question designed to help you, not to make you feel ashamed. Kakebo also teaches this simple but really powerful technique. For any non-essential purchase you're not sure about, just wait 24 hours. It creates this buffer, this space between the impulse and the action. And you would be shocked at how often that urgent, I need this now feeling just disappears by the next morning. And that right there brings us to the core philosophy that makes Kakebo so different, and frankly, so much more sustainable than a typical budget. Think about it. A lot of Western budgeting is about restriction and deprivation, right? It feels like being on a diet, and that's almost never sustainable. Kakebo isn't about restriction, it's about paying attention. One feels like punishment, the other feels like you're actually in control. And this is just a beautiful way to think about it. There's a Japanese concept called ma, which is all about creating deliberate space. That 24-hour rule we talked about, that's just applying ma to your spending. It's about creating an intentional pause. And in that pause, the rational part of your brain gets a chance to cast a vote. We'll end with the slogan that Motoko Hani printed in that very first Kakebo back in 1904. In a world of one-tap payments and invisible subscriptions, our memory of where our money goes is engineered to be fuzzy. This system is simply a tool for seeing clearly. Maybe the most powerful financial tool isn't an app, after all, but a pen.